We've all been there. You're playing one of your favorite games, you've been making some really good progress, you've defeated hordes of enemies, avoided pitfalls and traps. Now you're on the lookout for a checkpoint. You turn the corner only to see that one enemy that makes you want to pull the power plug on your console or PC. No, God! Yeah, that one. The last enemy that you wanted to see, but here they are, standing between you and your dreams. In this video, we'll take a look at the 10 most stress-inducing enemies in the whole Soulsborne series. I'll be giving hints and tips on the best way to deal with them. By the end of this video, you'll be well equipped with knowledge about these troublesome Soulsborne creatures, so that you can breeze past them and avoid all that pain and suffering. We'll be including enemies from Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, Sekiro and Bloodborne. Feel free to take a guess in the comments at which enemy I'll rank at number 1. Let's get into it. We'll start with the most obvious, mimics. Mimics are enemies disguised as treasure chests. You know the scenario. You're adventuring and looking for some sweet loot. You're popping those treasure chests open. One gives you some cool armor, another one gives you a cool weapon, and then bam! Mimic time. Mimics have pretty cool unique items inside, so they can be worth the risk. A little tip to try and tell the mimics apart from the real treasure chests is, most chests have a chain attached to the side. A mimic's chain is placed more in a straight line, whereas the chain of a normal chest is more curved. So make sure to look out for the chain placement. Also, if you look at them from a distance using binoculars or a bow, you can see them breathing every so often. The cheeky little critters. Mimics appear in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and they don't always have to be wooden, they can also be like a metal chest as well. Just watch out for the metal chests because they don't actually have a chain attached to them. One redeeming feature for the mimics is they don't respawn after you defeat them. You can also throw items at them, for example a Lloyd's talisman, to put them to sleep, and whilst they are asleep you can actually just take the item and run away.
Oh no! Mamma mia!
Coming in at number 9, we have the Rupturing Hollows from Dark Souls 2. These enemies will aggressively run towards you, jump onto you, and explode, usually dealing lethal damage. What makes them worse is there's always loads of them, not just one, not just two, a whole gang. Sometimes, if you're quick enough, you can defeat one or two of them before they explode, but then, you guessed it, a third one decides to jump out of nowhere and finish you off. There are even some Rupturing Hollows that at first don't appear to be doing any damage to you when they blow up. However, if you get hit by these a few times, what will happen is your equipment will actually break. If your equipment does break, then you'll need to go and find a blacksmith to repair all your gear and weapons. One quick tip to help you with these enemies is, usually you can hear their chains rattling as they speed towards you, so keep your ears open for the chain sounds and then your eyes open for those agile adversaries. At number 8, we have the Bone Wheel Skeletons. Yep, the Roly Boys. You've been making your way through the catacombs, taking out legions of the undead, then you can see it, the exit, the way out of this hellhole. You run as fast as your legs can carry you, and then here they come. Rolling, 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 right into your backside and delete you in 3 seconds flat. Even if you whip out your shield and block their attacks, they can still keep rolling, rolling, rolling. There are Bone Wheel Skeletons on Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, but I find that they tend to be a bit more of a pain on Dark Souls 1. A quick tip to help with these is, as the Bone Wheel Skeleton is rolling up behind you and gets close, try to run quickly to the left or right and they should miss, and sometimes running in a zigzag motion can help.
Surprise!
The Palace Nobles are men who have mutated into weird fish-like creatures. They have a craving for youth and are desperate to sap energy from their victims. They use a move called Sap Youth, and you really don't want to get your youth sapped by these bad boys. If they do successfully sap Sekiro's youth, then you'll be turned into an old man and have none of that stamina and agility that you're used to having. When Sekiro is in this old state, called enfeebled state, he can't run, jump, or use the grappling hook. When you try to grapple, he just looks really confused, almost like he's forgot what to do. A lot of the time, they're hiding just out of sight, and before you can figure out where they are, wham! Youth sapped. In some areas, there's absolutely loads of them, so when you defeat one of them and you're feeling pretty smug, you can bet there's another who's just set their sights on you and will be sapping your youth in the next 2 seconds. One weird tip for the Palace Nobles is, when you're in your enfeebled state, you can actually hit them even though it's very difficult to land the attack. If you do hit them, it will knock them down to the floor, and you can deliver a very unique Shinobi Death Blow attack, where Sekiro actually jumps on them and saps his youth back into his own body, which takes away your enfeebled debuff and brings you back to normal again.
chicken.
At number 6, we have the Armana Priestess from Dark Souls 2. Now, you may be thinking, just one enemy casting homing soul arrow at you isn't too stressful, and if that were the case, you'd be right. However, in the Shrine of Armana lives many Armana Priestesses, and I'm talking a lot. Their aggro range is insane, they can spot you from a mile off. You'll be running up to one priestess to defeat her, but by the time that you get to her, another priestess has spotted you and is also casting at you. Then, by the time that you get over to the second priestess, you can bet that there's another 3 or 4 that have spotted you and are all casting homing soul arrow at you all at the same time. The craziest thing about the homing soul arrow attack is it's actually been nerfed. In the original version of Dark Souls 2, it used to be way more accurate. I'd recommend picking them off one by one using a ranged weapon if possible, or if you're feeling extra brave and as long as you have a large health bar, then you could run through there at the speed of sound like a madman and hope for the best. Stressful enemy number 5 is the toxic blow dart snipers from Dark Souls 1. Picture this, you're exploring one of the most infested, scourge-filled areas in the game. You're making some decent progress and nothing has gone too wrong just yet. Then, out of nowhere, you are now infected with the toxic debuff. Wave goodbye to your health. Yeah. These enemies are mega difficult to spot, but I can assure you, you'll know when they're around because your health will be draining faster than when you skip the sponsored section of a YouTube video. The crazy thing about this area of the game is it's quite likely that you'll get poisoned, so then if you do get the toxic debuff from these enemies too, then it's pretty much a death sentence. One saving grace about these enemies is when you defeat them, they don't respawn back again. They also don't really have any health at all, so you could attempt to shoot them and take them out at range, or get up close to them and wreck them in 1 or 2 hits. At number 4, we have the Winter Lanterns from Bloodborne. Grotesque looking creatures with a giant head. As soon as these things spot you, your frenzy bar will start shooting up. You'd better bring some sedatives along to try and keep that frenzy build-up in check. Because if you don't, you're going to be taking massive damage. And to make matters even worse, the time it takes you to run up to the Winter Lantern to smash it with your saw cleaver is about the same amount of time that it takes for your frenzy bar to fill up, meaning that you take the massive chunk of damage from the actual frenzy build-up. Then if the Winter Lantern clips you, it's pretty much game over. Or even worse, it could grab you and literally eat you. You do have a small opening to shoot and parry before it grabs you, but if you miss the parry timing, then that Winter Lantern is turning you into its main course. Think you're safe from them by hiding behind that wall? Think again. The frenzy buildup keeps building up for a time even after you break the line of sight. Throw in multiple Winter Lanterns at the same time and you've got yourself an absolute nightmare. My tip for these is to try and stagger them. Usually a heavy hitting weapon or a weapon transformation attack will be your best friend here. If you're enjoying this video and finding it useful, I'd really appreciate it if you give this video a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos from me. At number 3, we have the Forlorn from Dark Souls 2. You're adventuring along, having a jolly good time, and then boom, there he is, the Forlorn. If you played Dark Souls 2 before, then you and I both know that we thought this was a player invading our world over and over again. Yep, I also lived that pain. But no, this is not a player invader, this is an NPC invader. He can randomly spawn at certain locations and he usually does it at the worst possible time. You've got 100,000 souls on you? Well, it's Forlorn time. You've spent 3 hours making your way through a new area, you see the bonfire in the distance. Oop, you better believe it's Forlorn time. I hear you saying, Azzavhar, just rest at the bonfire to reset the enemy positions. Nope. Can't rest at a bonfire when Forlorn is about. Now I hear you saying, Azzavhar, just save and quit and then reload your game. Nope, can't save and quit when the Forlorn is about. My only tip for the Forlorn is run. Run for your life. If you can make it into the boss room, then the Forlorn will despawn. Or you could try to fight him and win. The choice is yours. At number 2, we have the Starved Hounds from Dark Souls 3, or as they're better known, teleporting dogs. Yep, you heard it. Teleporting dogs. You're making your way through hordes of enemies, outrunning them, dodging their attacks, and then out of nowhere... What? Yeah, teleporting dogs. You think you can outrun these? Think again. These things literally drop out of the sky above your head. I think these dogs might have been watching a bit too much Dragon Ball Z because they've picked up Goku's instant transmission ability.
Hey!
This one here has even teleported inside of a wall. Yeah, you can stay in there. Serves you right for teleporting. My recommendation for these enemies is to throw an alluring skull to distract them long enough for you to run by, or a black firebomb to the face usually sorts them out.
Kaboom!
It's worth mentioning that I do have boss guides, tutorials and walkthroughs for the vast majority of games mentioned in this video. Feel free to check them out on this channel. The most stress-inducing enemy in the whole Soulsborne series is the basilisk, specifically the ones from Dark Souls 1. Now, there are basilisks in Dark Souls 2 and 3, however, the nastiest ones of the bunch are the ones from Dark Souls 1. Maybe you see one of them from far away and you're like, oh, these things don't look so dangerous. Oh no, think again. You get caught in that smoke for more than 2 seconds and you can wave your life goodbye. And then you're thinking, oh, all good. I'll just go back and pick up my souls and everything will be good to go. Oh no, think again. You've now permanently got half health. Yep. Permanent half health.
Oh, hell no!
And now your only hope is buying something called a purging stone from that merchant that you saw earlier. Oh, what do you mean that merchant accidentally slipped and fell onto your sword? Oh, whoops! I see. Well, there is one more merchant that maybe you'll find after hours and hours of exploring and searching, or maybe you'll find that random NPC in New Londo that can heal curses. Yeah, that NPC that's an absolute nightmare to find. So yeah, if you stand in these basilisks' smoke for more than 2 seconds, you'll be playing Dark Souls 1 on extreme difficulty. Permanent half health mode. What's crazy is, until it was patched, the curse could actually keep stacking. So instead of having only 50% of your health left, it used to be that it could actually go down to 12.5% left, which is insane. My advice for these would be to try and get behind them and attack them from behind. Also, whatever you do, don't get cornered by them. Otherwise, it's curse time.
Oh no!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine. They're not really fine, you just can't get into it because they look at you.
What do you think about the ranking of these top 10 stressful enemies in Soulsborne games? Would you rank them differently? Which enemies would you rank as your 10 most stressful? Let us know in the comments. And now you're fully equipped with all the knowledge about these crazy creatures, so you can blast through them without breaking a sweat. And if you want to dive even deeper into your From Software journey, then check out this Elden Ring video right here. Thank you very much for watching and take care.
I need your souls.